We have heard so much about 5G in recent times, with people talking about its advantages like faster speeds and better connectivity. But what many of us are unaware of is whether this new technology is also involved in tracking us without our permission. Is it possible for 5G to track you without your knowledge? If yes, how does it do it, and is it legal? Well, these are some very important questions that we will answer in today's video, so make sure to watch it till the end. Also, let's aim for at least 1,000 likes on this one. With that said, drop a like, leave a comment, and let's get started. Now, before we begin, we would like to inform you that all the information provided in this video is for educational purposes only. The information provided does not constitute investment, legal or medical advice, and we do not make any representations or warranties of any kind, express or implied, about the completeness, accuracy, or reliability of the information. We highly advise you to consult with your lawyer, accountant, or other relevant professional if you have any specific questions. Now coming back to the topic. There is no doubt that 5G is the latest generation of cellular network technology, which has been recently introduced to provide faster internet services. But along with this advantage, there are certain concerns that have been raised regarding the privacy and security of the users. Many people are concerned that the 5G network can track them without their consent, and there is some validity to these concerns. In fact, even some government agencies have expressed their concerns over the issue. For example, the U.S. Army has recently warned soldiers against using 5G smartphones near military bases due to the potential risks involved. So what exactly is 5G tracking, and how does it work? Well, it all begins with the Trilateral Packet Data Network, or TPDP. This technology allows devices to connect to the internet without the need for a physical phone line. Instead, data is transmitted through electromagnetic waves, which are then converted into electrical signals that can be understood by the device. However, this process involves a complex network of routers and servers that manage and direct the flow of data, and it is here where the problem lies. The trilateration technique used by 5G networks to determine the location of a device is based on the time it takes for the signal to travel from the device to the nearest cell tower by measuring the time delay. The network can calculate the distance between the device and each tower, and then use triangulation to determine the exact location. While this technology is useful for providing location-based services such as GPS navigation, it also raises concerns about privacy and security. For example, law enforcement agencies may use this technology to track the location of suspects without a warrant. Additionally, the data collected through triangulation can be used to build a detailed profile of a person's movement and behavior, which can then be used for targeted advertising or other purposes. Moreover, the 5G network is more densely packed with small cells, which are low-powered base stations that provide coverage in small areas. This allows for greater capacity and faster speeds, but also means that there are more points of data collection. As a result, users are constantly being tracked, and their data is being collected even when they are not using their phones. It is estimated that each smartphone connects with around 10 base stations every day, generating a massive amount of data that can be used to track a person's movements and behavior. This raises concerns about the level of privacy and anonymity that can be expected when using a 5G network. Also, another concern is the lack of transparency in data collection and usage. Most people are unaware that their data is being collected and used to track their movements and behavior. Even when they are provided with the option to opt out, the process is often complicated and difficult to understand. This lack of transparency makes it difficult for individuals to exercise their rights to privacy, control over their personal information. There have been instances where the 5G network has been used for tracking purposes, without the knowledge or consent of the users. For example, in 2020, it was reported that the Indian authorities had used a 5G network to track the movement of a journalist who had been critical of the government. Similarly, in China, the authorities have been known to use facial recognition technology and a 5G network to track and identify citizens in public areas. These examples highlight the potential for abuse and the need for regulation to prevent the 5G network from being used for surveillance and tracking without proper authorization. However, the question arises whether it is legal for the 5G network to track users without their permission. The legality of tracking through a 5G network depends on various factors, including the purpose of the tracking, the type of data collected, and the laws and regulations in place. In general, tracking for legitimate purposes such as law enforcement or national security is more likely to be considered legal than tracking for commercial or advertising purposes. However, it is important to note that the 5G network collects a lot of data, and it is crucial to ensure that this data is not being used for purposes other than those for which it was collected. Various laws and regulations have been put in place to protect the privacy and security of users on 5G networks. For example, the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, requires companies to obtain consent from users before collecting their data and allows them to access and correct their data. Similarly, the California Consumer Privacy Act, or CCPA, gives consumers the right to know what information is being collected about them and how it is being used. These laws and regulations are essential for ensuring that the 5G network is used in an ethical and responsible manner. But despite these measures, there is still a need for greater transparency and accountability in the use of the 5G network. Users should be informed about how their data is being collected and used, and have the ability to control the use of their data. There have been several calls for regulation to ensure that the 5G network is not used for surveillance or tracking without proper authorization. Some experts have suggested the creation of an independent body to oversee the use of the 5G network and ensure that it is not being misused. Overall, while the 5G network offers many benefits in terms of speed and connectivity, it is important to be aware of the potential risks to privacy and security. By understanding how the 5G network works and the laws and regulations in place, users can better protect their privacy and security and ensure that their data is being used ethically and responsibly. So does 5G really track you? Well, the answer is yes and no. It does track you in the sense that the 5G network is capable of tracking your location and movements. But it doesn't necessarily do it without permission. Whether or not you are being tracked depends on how the network is being used, and whether the tracking is being done with or without your knowledge and consent. While the 5G network does not inherently invade your privacy, it does present new challenges and concerns that must be addressed to ensure that your data is being used ethically and responsibly. As the technology continues to evolve and become more sophisticated, it is important to stay informed and proactive about your privacy rights and security measures. By understanding the 5G network and the potential risks involved, you can make informed decisions about how you use it and ensure that your personal information is protected. So that's all for this video. We hope you found it informative and helpful. If you want to continue learning about the latest technologies and their impact on our lives, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of interesting videos coming up that you don't want to miss out on. Also, don't forget to like and share this video if you think it will be useful for someone else. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.